Hello, everyone. This is Tom, and welcome to the Lone Wolf Prepper channel. And thank you for coming and spending your time with me. Anyway, a few things to say about YouTube. My channel did some growing over the last week, so YouTube is clamping down on it. So if you have a problem finding stuff, that doesn't surprise me. I'm assuming nobody's here. They must have not sent out notifications. That's okay. That's okay. It's their platform. But you know what, YouTube? You ain't going to be able to hide the truth. Nobody can hide from the truth. Eventually, if you do, it's going to come to spank you in the butt. But I sure do appreciate all the views and subscribers and just all the support the channel's had, and especially the comments. Good or bad, I don't care. Okay, I want to hear how you honestly feel. And that's the easiest way to start getting along is when I know how you honestly feel. But, whatever, some of the comments are very insulting and derogatory, and some I even got threatened my life. Whatever, if that's what it's going to take for us to start communicating, then so be it. Your insults don't bother me. Your threats don't bother me. Very secure in the way I live, the way I feel, the way I think, and very secure in my abilities. So I just soon rather talk. But anyway, tonight we're going to do a topic that YouTube might actually push since they're into getting everybody to be afraid. This video ain't about being afraid, but that's what they want, to get everybody hyped up and afraid. So what we're going to talk about tonight is Israel and Iran. I mean, I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching the news, and it's like everybody's just waiting for Iran to attack. They got the cameras all in place, waiting for the attack. What kind of world do we live in? All right. Israel, if you don't want to be attacked, then stop being stupid with other countries. Okay? That's what I don't understand. I was in Israel back in 87. Spent 2 weeks there. We training with the Israeli commandos and stuff, and doing our diving, that type of stuff, and having a good old time. But I would sit there or I would walk through the streets that night, and I would just listen. I'm thousands of miles from home, so I'm listening. Because a lot of them had their windows open and stuff, and not that I was eavesdropping, but listening to the family unit stuff. It was just strange. When I was there, I always said the oldest person could walk down the darkest alley in the middle of the night and not be afraid. That's changed. And, I met people that fought in the 6-Day War and stuff. And in Israel, it was explained to me, the difference. They were so much like America. So much like America. Their country set up so much like America. Their roads and everything, just you can't read signs. But, that's a country that has just completely flipped. But anyway, they're surrounded by their enemies. And I got explained to this why United States, we're at ease and stuff. And there, if you're in the military, you take your weapon everywhere with you. It's not like you stay in the base, you go stay at your home. You see women carrying Uzis in the restaurants, okay? Yeah, that's what you see over there because they're always ready to go at a moment's notice because they're surrounded by their enemies. But back then, they didn't poke at them like they do now. Now, I don't understand why Israel over the last few years, maybe the last 15 for sure, have just been itching for a fight, looking for a reason to fight with Iran. I don't understand why. Why can't we just all get along? Why does I just don't understand it all. Okay? They have been fighting for thousands of years. Okay? They're never going to get along. So we live in the 21st century. It's time to be adults about it. Why can't people just be in their country, live the way they want to, and other countries not worry about it? Isn't it up to the people of that country to worry about it? We want a bunch of people from other countries worrying about what's going on in the U.S. and trying to run our business. Well, I guess China's already doing that stuff. But I mean, interfere like the U.S. interferes in other countries. But everybody's just waiting for it. Sports contest is what's going on. Waiting for the offense to begin. Now, is World War III going to start out of this? I don't know. If the U.S. would just stay out of it and mind their own business, we'd have nothing to do with it. Then those people could go to war with each other, settle their problems, and then maybe they could have 2,000 years of peace instead of thousands and thousands of years of war. But yeah, it's eventually coming. Okay, they've wanted this war for years now. I don't understand why Iran is such the threat. I mean, are they still pissed off that they kicked the Shah out of Iran back in the 70s? Are they still upset about that? That they couldn't set in their puppet government and they're still trying to do it 50 years later? Or 44 years later, 45 years later? Doesn't make any sense. And we're sending our military hardware over there, our ships and stuff. For what? If the U.S. would stay out of a lot of stuff, the world wouldn't be in the mess it's in. If you're a country that's at war with your neighbor and all you got to do is go to the U.S. and say, hey, we need some money. We want to have war with our neighbor and we get along with you and stuff. So can the American people just flip the bill? And I'm getting so sick of that stuff. I don't know where they're pulling this money out of, but it's just money we're paying our taxes to promote this stuff. And eventually, it's going to be here. The bombs will be falling in this country. Mark my words. And I'm not talking bombs from the enemy they've let in through our borders. I'm talking hypersonic missiles coming in and stuff like that. Where the American citizens finally going to be, welcome to the real world. That's one thing. Grew up in southern Minnesota, small town, small farm. In the first year and a half in the Marine Corps, my eyes really got open to how the world really works. And I realized how spoiled we are. But watching people almost froth at the mouth for this. And then everybody can get on YouTube and start getting their clicks. Canadian Prepper can sit there and see, I'm right. Remember, the world was supposed to end by tonight already? We're supposed to be at World War III? I'm so sick and tired of these scare tactics. Okay? Be prepared. There's nothing to be scared of. I guess if an asteroid hits and it's a, life-ending event, well, that's different. It's, you can't really prepare for that. But war between Israel and Iran, frankly, it's not going to stop me from going to work in the morning. It's not going to stop the gas station in town or the grocery store in town from being open. It's definitely not going to stop them taking taxes out of my check or the illegals coming in over the border or our money just being totally crushed or there's possibly the stock market crashing. Okay? It's not going to stop none of that. So I don't understand why we're so focused on it. Can you imagine if all the press that Israel and Iran's getting right now, if we were to get that type of press on the border for a few days from the mainstream media? What a real problem is? I made a short that one time that YouTube don't want to put on about if our nuclear weapons were secure as our border is, the world wouldn't be a very safe place. We got our problems here. Yes, Israel and Iran, let them go at it. But we got our problems here to settle. And we need to be spending money here, not spending money on wars of what? I don't even know what Israel and Iran is going to go to war over. It's definitely not over resources. It's over religious things. It's got to be. Most wars are fought over resources. Your country next to you has the resources you need. Boom. You get the wrong government in, they go get the resources. So, because, what did Lindsey Graham say? I think it was Lindsey Graham's. Ukraine has too much natural wealth, or however you put it, for us to give it up to Russia. Tens of trillions of dollars of wealth. You mean that's why Ukrainian whole generation is being eliminated? So the U.S. can get wealthy off their mineral assets? See, that's what wars are fought over. So you explain to me why Israel and Iran are going at it. Or is it just we're pushing Israel into this so we can finish the business we want to do with the Shah in there? I mean, that's so old, but I'm sure, Biden was in office then, so maybe that's what it is. But they're going to fight. They're going to fight. So if it happens tomorrow or a year from now, the Middle East is going to blow up. And the thing is, Israel's not helping itself. I mean, going into other countries and bombing them is not right. Remember when they did that bombing raid on Syria and that Russian reconnaissance plane or whatever was landing at the airport and Syria shot that down by mistake because Israel did their tricks? I mean, even if a good guy, if the bad guy just kind of stand there not doing nothing and the good guy goes up and starts pushing him, the bad guy's going to respond. Israel could also be dragging us into it without our knowledge. They're tricky. I don't know. I just, when I was over in Israel, I saw who controlled Israel. It was obvious to me. I mean, Israel basically wouldn't exist if they didn't have us. They know that. And now they got our nukes and stuff. But like I say, why are we fighting this war? Why would they fight this war? Because one's Muslim and the other one's Jewish? Is that what it's basically coming down to? What they've been fighting over for thousands and thousands of years, and we're going to draw the U.S. into it? I'm just curious. But the fight's coming. That's all I'm saying. The fight is coming. For sure, without a doubt. I don't know when. I would definitely say, yeah, Iran does have to pay for its proxy armies. But you know what? The U.S. is pretty dirty too. That's how the world works. This is what I found out when I was in. This is the nasty business called. This is how the world works. Well, what country does, they probably learned from us doing it in the first place. I mean, you tell me Ukraine's not a proxy for us to take on Russia? Countries need to stop using other countries, and other countries need to stop allowing countries to be used because they can benefit in one way or the other. Okay? I want to fight my enemy. And if my enemy is going to be Russia and we have to fight him, I want to fight him. I'm not going to stand behind some Ukrainian. I'm not that much of a wimp. But right now, Russia's not causing problems in my country. It's the open border. It's the people in power. I have more. I'm not afraid of being on YouTube. I'm not afraid, and I'm not going to say afraid. I'm not thinking Russian tanks are going to be coming up to the North Whitman Road. I'm more concerned with the FBI rolling up here and asking me what I have to do with on YouTube. Isn't that a logical statement? Okay, so that tells me the entity I have to be afraid of is the one that's going to come to my door. And that's not Putin tomorrow. That could be the FBI for me. Don't worry, I'll just read in the Constitution while they show up and then, maybe introduce them to Columbus for a little bit. I got to put up with their shit. But as Americans, the first, I guess we didn't have proxies at first. We went to North Korea. Okay, never won that one. But at least we had our men there fighting with the South Koreans. Okay, in the international forces. And in Vietnam, we were there. But now our country's gotten so lazy, and I'll say it that way, that we don't even want to fight our own wars anymore. We're going to send some sorry smuck country to go do it. But we're paying for it. Don't forget, they're increasing taxes, any way to get money out of us to support a war. Wars now. And when the conventional bombs start falling in our city from hypersonic missiles and stuff, and the subs off our coast, the east and west coast, China off the west coast, Russia off our east coast, launching missiles at us, and when all of a sudden we have enemy ships in the Gulf of Mexico, I wonder if Americans are going to wake up and realize, hey, I know what's causing all this. Our government and our refusal to do anything about it. I'm not pissing Putin off. I'm just going about my business, just like everybody here. Are you pissing Putin off? Are you pissing the Iranians off? The thing is, in the service, in order for you to do your job, they teach you to hate. They teach you to hate your enemy. Now, in the military, that's fine. That's how you survive. That's how you're able to take somebody's life you don't even know. But now they're doing it to the civilian world. Just like hate the Japs. We hated the Japanese so much we put them in concentration camps. And then 2 years later asked their young sons to go to war for help us in our war. Yeah, let's not forget that Democrats did create concentration camps during World War II. That's where our enemy is. And they haven't changed at all. And now we're hiding behind the skirts. I don't want to say skirts, but of other countries' men. I mean, Ukraine is losing a whole generation of men. And we're paying for it. That's nothing. You're working so some Ukrainians and Russians can die. And there's going to be, Russians and Ukrainians, yeah. And it's going to be Iranians and Israelis. Aren't you done paying for that? Isn't there other ways we can spend our money? Like, they want all electric cars, right? Well, I suggest before you do that, we actually get an electric grid that can handle that. There's so much more we can spend our money on here. The schools always want more money. I don't think they need more money. I think they need to get back to the 3 R's and get rid of the Department of Education and let the parents who have their kids in school run the school board again. But anyway, yeah, the war's coming. They're pushing for it. We're paying for it. Eventually, it's going to pop off. Okay, and like I said, I'm still going to have to go to work the next day. The border's still going to be wide open. Our money is still going to be worthless, but the gas station's going to be open. The grocery store's going to be open. And you know what? I don't think we're going to have a run on the stores like we did over the COVID Simon Says deal. Meaning, I don't think we're going to run out of toilet paper this time. But they sure do got the hype up. So instead of being scared, what there should be fear anyway. We're all adults. What's there to fear? I mean, if you raise kids, I mean, there's nothing to fear. That's something kids feel. If you haven't got to the adult world where you've been challenged or, in some way been in a life-threatening situation or wherever it is that you got your adrenaline flowing, being scared, you freak out, panic, and scared, you're a dead person. Okay? Keep your mind going. Keep focused. Hi, Carol. How's it going? Anyway, but we need to prepare. Okay? Food, water, everybody has that. Make sure you have your seeds because, like I say, after 4 seasons, if you're not self-sufficient off the land and stuff, you might be having problems. Okay? But let's talk about some of the other things. Physical fitness is very important. Now, I would even suggest, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but when we went to cold weather training in the Marine Corps, a couple months before we went, they told us all to put on a little bit of a spare tire. I'm not telling anybody to go out and get obese and stuff, but a little extra storage isn't going to hurt, just as long as you can carry your weight, because you'll burn it off real fast. Okay? But you need to get physically fit a little bit every day. When I work out and stuff, I do a little bit every time. Okay? That's how I challenge myself, and I'm never happy with, when I start out one day, I'm never happy with what I did yesterday. I got to do better today. Okay? You need to get to a point where, I don't want to say you don't need the doctor, but you're able to handle some of the stuff yourself. Now, I'm lucky. In less than 3 weeks, I'm going to be 57 years old. I never have to go to the doctor. I don't have to take pills. I got the blood pressure of a 20-year-old. I run around like an 18-year-old. And I get looked at like I'm a 25-year-old. That's one thing that's really stressful about it. But, I'm lucky. But I pushed my body my whole life. I was in athletics and in the Marine Corps. Boy, pushed myself till I should have died and then kept going. So maybe that's the reason for it. But I'm lucky in that. Hi, Kristen. I'm lucky in that aspect. But that could always change. And I tell you what, if that does change the world the Democrats are trying to create, I won't even have a reason to exist, and they'll make sure that I don't get no medical treatment. All right, but that's off beside the point. Okay, physically fit. And then self-defense. Now, if it's with a Second Amendment tool, the thing with your Second Amendment tool, okay, you don't need 300 guns. Okay? I would suggest having a pistol, a rifle, and a shotgun. And you'd be proficient with every single one, where it becomes an extension of your body. That's what you need to get. That's where you become dangerous. Because if you don't get to that point, and you get somebody that's trained, that weapon becomes a tool for the other guy. And you got to be willing to pull the trigger. You got to be willing to do it. If somebody's coming after you and they're willing to take your life, you just, that's life. Okay, you can't stop somebody from wanting to kill you. The only way you can stop it is to stop it yourself, but you can't stop their mentality. The only way to stop is you got to put them down. Anyway, just when it comes to that, it's going to be a tough time for a lot of people. Okay? Especially, when you start, I don't want to say not getting mad at yourself, but get mad at the people that put you in that position to have to do that. your anger will be redirected. Okay, another thing, self-defense with your hands, whether that be boxing, martial arts, wrestling. Yep, having a good guard dog is important to my dog. Lets me know whenever things aren't right and someone is around. Yeah, I know. I got 3 of them, and believe me, if the FBI ever comes to my door and wants to mess with me, they'll be getting Columbus first, and I'll be right behind them with the Second Amendment. I know. A good dog. You don't get robbed. If you got a dog in your house, let's say all these rich people, get a couple dogs. Somebody tries robbing your place, they start barking. That's the best burglar alarm you got. Oh, they're messy. Not if you bring them up right and take care of them. I got 3 dogs in this house. Can't tell there's a dog in this house unless I sweep and I vacuum and you pick up their hair. But you train them right, they don't have accidents. The best thing, and then they're loyal. A dog will die for its owner, without a doubt, not even questioning it. Yeah, a dog is very important. So, believe me, I bet you if the cops are going to do a 6 a.m. raid on your place, or the FBI, they know if you have a dog or not. But yeah, I have my dogs. And then when I'm out on my horse and stuff, boom, they're the first ones to pick it up. Their ears go up, they look right away, and they sense everything. Okay? Nature, if you're around it, will help protect you too. That's why if you're a lone wolf and you understand nature, you don't need bells and whistles and flares if somebody's trying to sneak up on your position. If you know how the animals react and the strangers around, you're going to know they're there long before any type of booby trap you have is. That's one thing human beings have lost since they've been domesticated. That animal instinct that all animals have to be aware of what their surroundings. Okay, and I know you can still sneak up on an animal in the woods and stuff, but they're still very well aware. So anyway, we're on self-defense, but getting into a martial arts class, and I'm telling you one thing: if you get into a martial arts class, if they're in it just for the money, if they're not pushing you, if after the stretch routine you're not sweating, and they expect perfection, and they don't expect perfection, the thing is, after this, you stretch, you're not sweating your butt off, it's probably not the school to be at. And that's the way I'll put it. Because stretching in the martial arts is the hardest thing to get used to. But flexibility is the most important thing. And after 20-minute, 25-minute stretch routine, you are sweating just like you ran a 5-mile race. If you're not getting that, I wouldn't stay in that class. You want to be able to defend yourself, not look fancy if you're throwing a kick up in the air. But anyway, and then you got judo, got a lot of stuff. But the more prepared you are and the more skills you have, the more chance you have at survival. And that's ultimately what we're preparing for, right? To survive to the other side. Not just to survive 6 months into it or whatever. It's to survive to the other side. And then when you get on the other side, you're going to need those skills. If you got a skill set where you were a doctor, guess what? You may be teaching future doctors. If you knew how to build bridges, all these skills are going to be needed. And that's one thing, too. You need to bring books, written books, okay? Not handwritten, but actual printed material as reference. Because we all know that ones and zeros will be lost real quick. Anyway, so we got guns, defending yourself with your hands. I always like to say, too, okay? They want to take away the Second Amendment, right? Because, they want the world, according to Kamala Harris, she wants the world to be safe. Securing the borders had nothing to do with it. Taking my guns. Now, what are you going to do if I have the ability to defend myself with my hands and feet? Does that mean I get handcuffed and shackled too? It's already sad enough in this country that if you know how to defend yourself, you're not allowed to. Not allowed to go into offense. You're only allowed to defend yourself. Well, I can break somebody's arm by defending myself too. Anyway, skills that you're going to need. Now, skills that I have really mastered is bushcrafting. I love going out into the woods and looking how would I build a shelter here and how I'd have my fireplace. And would I build a dugout here or I use the trees down that they're leaning over or, I just look at stuff. I've been doing this though ever since I was a little kid. Okay? But bushcrafting, especially for a lone wolf, is very important because as a lone wolf, you want to be so far away from everybody that, you're going to have to know how to bushcraft. You're going to have to know how to fish. You're going to have to know how to hunt. Okay? All these skills of the wilderness that the caveman used to know. If the caveman was so stupid, then how come we could never survive like he did? Anyway, that's how far humans have went. I remember watching Alex Jones once, and this was back in 2013, 2014, and he was talking about primal man and stuff. Cave bears used to be scared of us. We were the ultimate killer on the planet. He's true. It's true. And now all they got to do is get on news and say Israel and Iran may go at war, and people are like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Living a life of fear, I don't understand. Okay? If you're prepared, your skills, like I say, the bushcrafting skills, you can go out in any environment and survive. Now, I realized I had to do that in the Marine Corps. Believe me, I got trained in every environment there was, from the desert to the snow. But I can survive in that atmosphere, that environment. Okay? So, in the bushcrafting stuff, I tell you what, like I say, when I'm living in my dugout, and I already got my place picked out, I got my dugout, and I'm sitting in my chair, by my lantern light, reading my Western. Wow. Where I used to live, they used to watch me ride the horse up and down. When I used to ride horse, I used to ride miles and miles. But anyway, they'd see me running through the ditch. And that one guy goes to me, he goes, you look like the happiest man in the world when you're on that horse. I said, I am. That's one other skill to have. If you don't want to walk, horse skills, that takes a lot of time. Learn how to ride them. And I was a cowboy, so that's how I learned. But and then learn how to train them and stuff. But I think that skill's going to be coming back, and I am willing to teach somebody that. And the one thing about my knowledge, it's free. I am never going to charge anybody who comes up to me and says, "Hey, I seen you can do that. Can you teach me?" I'd be more than happy to. Knowledge should be free. You shouldn't have to pay. Now, college is different. I'm not going to get on that. But I mean, everyday common sense knowledge. But if you're a college professor and you got some kid that comes up to you who's not even in college and wants to sit there and start knowing stuff, tell him. Does he have to pay you to get your knowledge out of your head? It's like in YouTube. Yeah, I'll never charge anybody. I'll never accept no money on this channel. I will never, if the channel gets big enough, I have sponsors that want to sell something. No. This channel is about spreading the word, getting organized, building that force against our federal government. So we can't be threatened with F-15s, Hellfire missiles, and nuclear weapons anymore. Everybody understand? So anyway, back to the skills. Navigational skills is very important. How to read a map, how to use a compass, how to navigate at night using the stars. I always say I could never get lost out in the middle of nowhere. But you put me in a big city, I'll get twisted around before you know what's going on. I get lost there all day long. But you can put me out in the middle of the woods and I'll easily make it back. I guess that's why I'm a lone wolf out here in the middle of nowhere, huh? Okay, another skill that people may not understand or not realize. Hard work. Learning to work for survival when it's hot as hell out, when it's 30 below and the wind's blowing and snowing. Just whatever it takes to exist, the hard work it takes to exist in those conditions. We have become such a country of it being easy that people don't quite understand that anymore. I go to a job, right? And I'll have bosses that have all this great equipment. But if I can do the job by hand in 10 minutes, but getting the equipment ready and everything is going to take me a half hour, I'll do it in 10 minutes. I don't have a problem running from position to position to hurry up. But we're all going to have to learn to work hard again. We got soft. I still use a maul when I split my firewood, a big old maul. Okay, weighs 10 pounds. Boy, it can smack the hell out of anything now. Up until now, I always used to use a push mower, and people would say, "Why use the push mower?" Well, it's got a motor on it. I still use a shovel to scoop the snow. I guess maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways, but you know what? I don't spend any time. How I don't spend any of my time? Waiting at the doctor's office. All these people telling me that I'm supposed to stop doing this. Well, I got a doctor's appointment in 3 days. Okay, go have it. Yeah, I don't have a problem working my body. Maybe I'll be 99 still doing chores and I just fall over dead once. It's better than being in a retirement home. Well, they take all your money from you and milk you dry and basically put you in a prison for the last years of your life. My kids promised me they'd never do that to me. But anyway, if you are prepared with your skills and you're confident in them, okay, you need to go out and practice them. Just confidence in yourself, in your abilities, is one of the main things to get you through. Because when things get tough and I can get through this, I can figure this out. Yeah, I'm by myself and it sucks right now, but it's going to feel so much good when I get on the other end of this. And that's for little things and big things. But the more skills you have, the better shape you're in, the better your mindset is, and the safer place you are. If you got to sit there and use all your skills at one time because the world's just totally overwhelming, like they're going to be in the big city. If you're in the big city, you definitely better have skills. So anyway, be prepared. When it comes to Solid Caucasian Express brought up tubeless tires for your bikes. Exactly. Yeah, it may cost a little bit more up front, but if you're having to bug out and all of a sudden you got a flat tire, boy, that money you saved is really helping you now, isn't it? I always say the best place to go get stuff, especially the old axes, the old engineering tools, as we call them, all that old stuff, and even appliances, electrical appliances. You go to the secondhand stores, it's crazy. Yep. But get prepared. Don't be scared. One thing on this YouTube, all this fear tactics. Tell me why a prepper channel at all should be telling its subscribers to be afraid at all. They should be informing them what's going on. Okay, now if you got to tweak it a little bit, but you're prepared. Don't worry about it. You're the ones that are smart. Fear don't sell to me. It just makes me look at the human race and say, are we really that weak? For something that's happened thousands of miles away, people are going to think it's going to affect them now? Okay? We're still going to have the same problems the next day. It's just they're all going to be covered up this time. Like I say, I would like to see some press. Instead of a weekend waiting for Iran to attack Israel, for the cameras to be down on the southern border. Just another distraction, and people are completely falling for it. I guess if the stock market's really going to crash big time this week, then that war will have to get started. Because it all comes down to the money, right? So, anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's coming. Like I say, it doesn't matter. It's coming. How bad's it going to get? Well, it just depends on how bad the U.S. is going to get involved in it. Okay? But eventually we're going to have Russian hypersonic missiles hitting this country. With conventional warheads, I bet. And then how are we going to nuke them? Can't nuke somebody who's not nuking us. You know, our bombs are landing on their cities and in Moscow. You know, wars, you know, the U.S. goes to war with somebody, right? And they're allowed to do whatever they want to the other country. But if the other country even says a bad word in response, oh my God, we got to destroy them. Now, I may sound like I'm bashing the U.S., but we're not an imperialistic country. No foreign entanglements. People were supposed to come to our country to be free. We weren't supposed to go around the world trying to spread freedom in other countries because there's other cultures that just don't want it. The people aren't happy with their culture. Okay? Some people like living under a tyrant and a dictator. Our country, our people don't. And that's what the tyrants in this country don't understand. I don't know what they're. See, I got dogs. I'm always these dogs. If they, you know, I got a road that's about a quarter mile away. The main road that goes up and down. The only road for miles. But anyway, every time a car goes by, they're barking. But yeah, I feel a lot secure with them here. I'll tell you that for sure. I mean, I'll know the FBI is here before they think I know. Okay. But hard work, okay? We've had it soft. And like I say, when you put on that spare tire, because you're going to need the energy, you're going to work it off real fast. Another thing I suggest buying as a prep. The next size clothes smaller than you are. You think maybe that sounds ridiculous. Yeah, you watch after 3 or 4 months of shift that your waistline's gone down 2 or 4 inches. I'm telling you need to buy smaller clothes. So I fluctuate from a 36 to a 34, depending on what time of year it is. So I have both sizes. But I can't really get below a 34, then I become unhealthy. And that's one thing about being in shape, too. A person has their healthy weight. If you try to get below that, you're going to have you're going to have problems just like if you go above it. How strong do you have to be? You have to be able to carry your own weight in a sufficient way to protect yourself, get from point A to point B, even if that's 26 miles. Okay? Say it. Okay? That's how in shape you need to be. It's not a Rambo thing, okay? Being in real top physical peak condition under those conditions is very draining on your body because your body requires so much food. I used to eat 4 times a day in the service, pig out, and I was still hungry all the time. Okay, so have that spare tire. It'll help. And I would suggest, don't put it all on at one time. But a few extra calories right now probably ain't going to be a bad thing. Okay, but the war's coming. I want to get off on that a little bit. I don't want to go as long as I did last time. So I want to move on to the lies of the Democrat Party. Remember when the press came out and Biden's press secretary, whatever that spider-haired lady's name is, it came out when we saw Joe being presidential on stage, like leaning over, take crap, shaking hands, people that don't be there. That was cheap fakes, remember? That's how it started out. I'm just talking the recent. That's how it started out. We were all seeing things. Cheap fakes, remember that? Insulting us by saying what our eyes were seeing, what wasn't actually happening. Okay, just like they told us 4 years ago, he was coherent when he couldn't leave his basement. Okay, I guess we must be a little incoherent because we believed, or we allowed them to steal the election by pretending we believed it, I guess. But anyway, that's why, cheap fakes. Our eyes are deceiving us, okay? And then it went to, he had the debate, right? Why did he do so bad at the debate? Remember the excuse he came up with? It was jet lag from 11 days prior, and he had a cold. That's why he was on stage looking like he was going to have a medical emergency, because he had a cold. Okay, lie. We all knew it was a lie. But they still came out and said he was the man for the job. He was the one saying he was the man for the job, wasn't dropping out. Okay, which is, his choice. But then all of a sudden, and I knew it because I made that video that Thursday, and I was told that Sunday, and I told he would be replaced by the 22nd of July, and he was. All of a sudden that comes out to where they didn't really say we were right. It's just he's doing it for the best of the party and the best of the country. And then who do they bring in? Well, of course, the nominee that didn't get one vote in the primary. Somebody they wanted to get off the ticket that they felt was a drag on the ticket just a few months prior. And now she's the answer to this country's problems. Communism is not the answer to this country's problems. And that's one thing that lady is a communist. But this is what we're supposed to believe now? And then they're sitting there saying how she's giving Trump a run for his money? Bull crap. I don't know who is swallowing this stuff. Who believes now, after watching it for a month, the Democrats lie their butts off about Joe Biden, saying everything's glossy and stuff, and then replacing him with somebody that didn't get one vote in the primary. And you're still having people support this. I mean, it's nothing but a big lie. But they have to get the lie going. In order to have the cheat, they got to have the lie. They got to sit there and make the illusion that it's a close election. Okay? I mean, I knew they stole it last time and we did nothing. Okay? Now, when they do it this time, I mean, when they even steal it, okay? They create the illusion, and I don't know, let's say we get 300 million votes, we get 225% voter turnout in this country, and Kamala Harris seems to have won. Are we going to go to Venezuela? The only reason we go to Venezuela is not because the people would stand up. It's because the government would step down. Now remember that on November 6th. It's not because of what you're doing. It's because of what they're doing. Okay? If somebody comes into your house and wants to be violent to you, you have to react. If they want to steal your country from you, you have to react. And it's okay to react. See, it's nothing. Like I say, we go to war. If the country even says anything bad about us, oh, we got to sit there and destroy the whole country. It's like our government. They're doing the same thing to us, trying to conquer the American people. And if we say anything bad about us, oh, look at the January 6th protesters. I can't wait till the day they're freed and the guards and the administrator of that prison become the prisoners. I can't wait for that day. But the lies. Who are they fooling? Who is actually still being fooled? I tell you what, if anybody's still being fooled about this, I don't want their mindset ruling this country. We got nuclear weapons, for crying out loud. We got these people in charge of them and threatening to use them against us. This is the country we live in these days. Okay? But yeah, the hype about Kamala Harris. The best thing since sliced bread. She's doing this, that, and the other thing, whatever. All song and dance. I can get out there and sing Singing in the Rain and just be just as impressive as Kamala Harris on stage. Okay? The only thing she can do is cackle real good, and she knows how to get off the stage right. Okay? You know, I believe that, a woman can be president. I firmly believe that. But it's not Kamala Harris. It's not Hillary Clinton. It's not Michelle Obama. It's not Nikki Haley. Okay? I don't know who it is, but it's nobody in the limelight now. It's going to be some obscure woman that's getting her hands dirty every day right now, sweating, taking care of her kids, dealing with life. And she's going to get the experience, and that's a woman that's going to be president one day. Okay? A grassroots woman. Somebody who's probably been screwed over a lot instead of screwing somebody else over. That's just my prediction. But, they can try to cheat somebody in there, but it doesn't matter. All I know is this is nothing. You want to prepare for Israel and Iran? November 6th, buddy. November 6th, the day after the election. That's what you need to prepare for. That's when the gas stations may be down. That's when the grocery stores may be locked up. Okay? That's when stuff that's going to affect you locally might happen, instead of if Iran and Israel start shooting missiles at each other. This is where we need to stop worrying about it. If it happens here, it happens here. Okay? If all of a sudden that war expands so much, Iran can't do nothing to us. Nothing. The only thing they can do to us, actually they can, with their army of terrorists that have come in through the southern border, yes, they can create hate and discontent. All I know is if that happens, I hope there's a bounty on Iranian terrorists, because all us preppers, vets, and patriots are just going to hang them up like we were shooting deer. But that's how they can affect us. Okay? Hitler didn't send bombs over. What did he send over? They were trying to build a bomber that could reach us. But what did they send over? Anybody remember? Sabotage team. One sabotage team who all got caught. And they were all executed. I think one actually gave up. But anyway, that's what they sent over first. That's what they got here. Except there's a lot more than just 4 of them. There's probably a lot of sleeper teams that have been scoping areas out, and they already got their targets picked and how they're going to destroy them. Don't worry. They'll blame it all on us conservatives. We did it all. We caused it. But that's what you need to prepare for. November 6th. I want a force strong enough to stand up to the federal government by November 5th. Openly organizing in front of the FBI and the government so they know we're doing it. Openly doing it. So on November 5th, we're ready. Because the thing is, if Trump gets the presidency, if they actually, come out and say the truth and he won, you're going to be defending yourself against all the crazy-ass liberals. And then they'll probably send out the sleeper cell. So you're going to be defending yourself either way. Either defending our country from being taken over again by criminals, or you're going to be defending yourself from these lunatics that want to take over our country. Either way. Okay, there's a war that started. Everybody knew in 1860, if Abraham Lincoln got elected, there was going to be a civil war. There was going to be a war. Everybody knew it. There was going to be a big old, maybe not the Civil War, but they knew something big and nasty was going to come. Okay? You know it's coming. So prepare for it. Okay, the Israeli and the Iranian conflict isn't going to be at your front door. Our revolution, civil war, partisan war, whatever you want to call it, is going to be at our front door. That's what you need to prepare for. If you're in the city, get the hell out. If you're in the city, I would take off, November 5th, that would be Tuesday, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. By November 2nd, I would be out of the city taking a week-long vacation with your grandmother, your aunt, somebody way out in the country. I watch the cities the week of the election all of a sudden clear out. But that's what I would do. I wouldn't be around it. You're going to be at ground zero, and you're not going to do nothing about it. Anyway, the lies, the lie after lie after lie. I never let my kids lie to me, and I'm really getting sick and tired of politicians lying to me, okay, and taking my money and lying to me. Anyway, so that's what we need to prepare for, war. The horoscope of this country is war, whether it's a civil war, revolutionary war, or world war that's affecting us, or maybe all the above. One thing I worry about if the U.S. goes crazy is the nuclear power plants. It's another thing we're prepping. You need to look how close you are to a nuclear power plant. If you are in the danger area of that. Okay, because you need to get out. Worry about that in our nuclear arsenal. I guess that's what I'd be closest to. I'm within, I used to live within 20 miles of the silos, but now I'm, probably about 130 miles from the silos. So you got to take that into consideration. I just don't know what's going to happen with the, because the military securing the nuclear weapons is kind of a different category in the military, okay? And it's an hour and 15 minutes in from a nuclear power plant. Yeah, what happens if that thing turns into Chernobyl? If society breaks down and they can't shut them babies off or cool them down, they're going to explode. That's one thing I don't like about nuclear energy. Yeah, it's clean until something goes bad. Then it's extremely dirty for a long time. But yeah, that's one thing, look on, there's lots of, out east, a lot of nuclear power plants. And then the water, all the water sources thereby are going to be contaminated. It's just a bad situation. But that's something to take into consideration. So anyway, I guess hone up on your skills. Make sure that Second Amendment is just an extension of your body. Okay, you don't need a lot of them. You just need to be really proficient with the ones you got. A gun you are not proficient with is a weapon for the other guy. Okay? And that's just the flat out truth. But anyway, we're not an hour already. I went an hour and 44 minutes on Friday, so I'm going to cut her off here. I appreciate everybody being here. And don't get sucked into the scare tactics. The sky is falling. And waiting on YouTube or the news, just waiting for the first missile from Iran to strike. Because you still got to go to work tomorrow. Okay? So enjoy your evening. Okay? But anyway, let's get organized. Let's start forming our reactionary groups. And hopefully, we'll get to a point where we can get this problem settled. That's what this channel is about. Solving this problem. A place to organize. Anyway, everybody enjoy their evening. This Lone Wolf Prepper, out.